Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you can stay consistent with your marketing and reach more customers. My name is Penny, and I'm going to be your guide through this content development process. I want to teach you how to create engaging content for social media, remarkable content for your sales pages, and amazing content that you want to share in your email messages, all of those things that you use for your marketing to reach more qualified customers. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, there are several links. One of the links that you're going to see is for the Content Calendar Blueprint program. This is an email-based training. So you're going to get an email from me. It's going to have a lesson in it. It's going to have a workbook in it. It's going to have videos in it. It's basically going to take you through the steps to develop your content calendar, as well as developing a content strategy to create the content that goes into your content calendar. And another link that you see is that so that you can join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective, and you can join a whole bunch of amazing small business owners as we all go through the process of developing remarkable content in the supportive group online space. So you see the link below, and you know what to do to learn more. All right, today's video. Excuse me. Got a little bit of a frog in my throat. Sorry about that. So I apologize for my voice today. So today's video, let's talk about this. Let's talk about these marketing messages. And I want to go deeper into more than just content creation of your marketing content, about your content workflow, which is what we've been talking about this month. But I want to get into the whole idea about what is the very first step that you do when it comes to your content creation. Most people think it has to do with batching our posts, what's the scheduling tool that I'm going to use, or maybe we even start with brainstorming. Let me tell you, you are missing an extremely important step if that's where you think you need to start. Because where you need to start, your first step, is about clarifying your goals for the content that you are going to be sharing, for the marketing messages that you are going to be putting out there in your community. What is the goal of it? Because if your content doesn't have a purpose, if it's not intentional, it's not going to stick. And then on the flip side of it, you're basically gonna like burn yourself out, because you're gonna keep on trying to make posts. You're gonna never figure out what's going on. Why isn't this moving the needle? Why am I getting engagement? Why is anybody clicking? And so it just becomes this consistent cycle of you posting, not knowing what's happening, so you post more. You're not knowing what's happening, and you post some more. So in this video, let's talk about this. I want to talk about why goal setting, especially when it comes to your content marketing, is going to set the foundation of your content workflow. It's going to set the basis of how you align your workflow with your business goals. And all of these goals, when they get translated together into an action plan, that's when you translate it and turn it into real results. And that's when you see things like people clicking on your links, like people taking action, like people engaging with your content. So let's jump into this today, because I think that this is a really important piece. Because here's the hard truth when it comes to this. I believe that a lot of small business owners treat their content creation like one more thing on their list, like it's a part of their to-do list. I've got all these marketing things, and so content creation becomes one thing, something that I just check off on my to-do list. And then you'll look around and go, oh, when did I post last time? I haven't posted in like 3 days. So let me put a quote up there. And yeah, putting a quote up there and posting something like that is better than nothing at all. That is true. But if your content doesn't have a purpose, if there's no intent behind it, if there's no goal that you're trying to reach by sharing your marketing message, basically what's going to happen is you're going to end up being inconsistent, because you're going to start running out of ideas. Because the idea of, I haven't posted in 3 days, let me put a quote up there, can only last you so long because it's not a strategy. Your community out there who are actually seeing your posts are going to get confused because they don't know what to expect from you. They don't know what you're saying. They don't know what you're promoting. They don't know what you're talking about because you're just randomly sharing stuff and there's no plan. Excuse me. There's no intent. There's no purpose behind it. And you start to feel like you are working so hard at this. Why is this not working? What's going on here? And then you start looking for, is it the algorithm? Is it this? Is it that? Instead of just taking a step back and looking at what's happening. Because the difference between posting just random stuff and posting with a goal is that when you have a goal in mind, when you have intention and you have purpose, you know what kind of content to create. You know how often you should be sharing it. You know where you should be posting it because it all becomes part of a plan. It all becomes part of the intentional goal that you're trying to reach. And when I'm talking about goals tend to live in, especially with regards to marketing, I would say, 3 big buckets. And I want to say big buckets because your goal may be even more specific, but they tend to fall into these 3 categories. Either your goal is awareness, or your goal is you are trying to generate leads, or your goal is sales. So that is what we're doing with our marketing messages. We are trying to either create awareness about our business, we're trying to develop leads, and that could be anything including your email list, or supporting your sales. So let's break it down with all 3 of those. So if we think about our goals, we think about what is the purpose, what is the intention of the marketing that I am sharing right now with my community. If we talk about it from the awareness side, awareness is all about visibility. Awareness is really good if your business is really new. Awareness is really good if your business has a brand new service or a brand new product that you want to share. It's about getting new people to discover your business, to learn your business's name, to learn your name, and understand what you do and how the products or the services that you have can help solve whatever challenges that they're struggling with. So if your goal for your marketing is awareness, your content workflow actually starts to focus more on things like educational posts, search-friendly blogs, shareable type of social media content, things that you're trying to basically give the information out there because you want people to discover you. You want people to learn about what you're doing. So that's what we're doing with this type of content. So if our goal then becomes awareness, the workflow centers around about being consistent and growing our reach. So you follow me there. So you see how having that specific goal affects what you use in your workflow. Okay, so let me go on to the next bucket. The next bucket is leads. And leads comes after the awareness. We could struggle, let me start that sentence over again. You will struggle with leads if people are not aware of your business and what your business does and how it solves their challenges. So when we get to the leads part, the leads goal, I guess you could call it, that's generally that space that happens after we've done a lot of marketing with awareness. So once people start to know who you are, the idea of leads is a way to bring them closer into not just that surface area of what your business does and that free thing that they've downloaded. Lead generating content is designed more to start conversations, to gather people's email addresses, to put them on the email list, just to basically get people to be more centered around your business world. So if your goal for your marketing is leads, then your workflow needs to include content that directs people to your freebie, to a webinar, to a discovery call. It's those types of things. The workflow here is about following up. It's about connecting on a more personal level and nurturing that connection. So that's what we do with the leads category. So if we go down to the third category, the third bucket, whatever word you want to use for goal, is sales. So we've got the awareness. When we initially start up with the awareness, and then we move them into this leads driven category, this leads driven content. Then we start to think about the sales. So what we're doing here is it has a lot to do with your customer buyer's journey. It's a sales funnel. It's that type of thing. We are moving people along a path of understanding who we are and what our business does. But it's important to understand that this is not just about sales. It's about creating content that's going to support the sales. And I mean, that doesn't mean that every single post, every single video, every single thing that you put out there has to be buy my stuff. But it does mean that your workflow has to include content. As if you are doing a launch, content sharing testimonials, content sharing a really clear call to action, giving them the information about here's where you're challenged, here's the answer to your solution. So if your goal is sales, then your workflow needs to focus on aligning the content that's going to be shared in your marketing with your offers. So this is not the place where we say, I'm just going to put a quote up there, because a quote is not connected to your offer. What is going to be connected to your offer is something like a webinar, is something like a discovery call, is something like giving them educational information to show them whatever it is your product or service does and how they can see a transformation in their business, see a transformation in their life, and that they can take this information and then they could make a more, what's the word I'm looking for, educated decision about whether they want to buy from you. And that's what we're talking about. So when you know which one of these buckets, you know which one of these goals that you're focused on, that's when your workflow, your content workflow becomes much more targeted towards what you're trying to do, what your goal is with your marketing. So instead of you having a content calendar with a whole bunch of random tips or thoughts, you actually start looking at the piece of content and you think to yourself, is this piece of content getting me closer to my goal? Am I moving towards awareness? Is this for leads? Is this for sales? And if the answer is no, and that's where you are, then it doesn't need to be a part of your content. It doesn't need to be something that you're posting up there. So when we think about it from that place, it becomes like a guide showing us what we could be sharing, what we shouldn't be sharing, and where we should be spending our valuable time creating. And so before I get into this next step, I do want to remind you that to like, subscribe, and please share this video with another business owner, especially if another business owner who is dealing with a lot of content chaos, and they would love to learn more about how they can get some clarity and see some results with their content. Okay, so the subscribe button is below. You know what to do. Okay, let's keep moving here. The next thing I want to talk about is, so if we figured out what our goal is, if we know if we're in awareness, if we know we're leads or we're in sales, and we're thinking about the content, I want to make sure that you understand how to align your workflow with these goals. How do you actually put this into practice? So the best thing that you can do is start from this place. Start from thinking about, okay, what is my primary goal for the next, again, if you're doing things 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, quarterly, whatever you're doing. Which one is it? Is it going to be, pick your goal. And throughout the year, you could actually be in all three of these goals. It's easy to say, but what I want you to do, if you're focusing on this, I want you to get real focused. What are we doing for 30 days? Are we doing awareness? Are we doing leads? Are we launching something in sales? So pick your primary goal, and then what happens is you will build your content workflow around this. So let's say if awareness is your workflow, You would think about when you're going to put educational posts on. Maybe every single Monday, it's going to be, Education Monday. So every Monday morning, you're going to do a live streaming where you're going to answer questions and you can interact with your community. So, that's what I want to think about. That's how we think about what we're going to be planning with our workflow, what we're going to be planning with our content. We can schedule stuff. We could repurpose. We can figure out how we can repurpose some of this content into reels on Thursday or however we're going to do this. So we're moving through our content calendar with the understanding of how we can move towards making sure that our content is supporting this goal. So as you start to move through this workflow for every week, check to make sure, is each piece of this content supporting this goal? And if it's not supporting this goal, is this piece of content, how can we adjust it? How can we tweak it? How can we put it into a space? And ChatGPT is really, really great at that. So if you are in this place right now where you're trying to figure out how to create my workflow based around these goals, go into ChatGPT and start asking it questions. So if my goal is awareness in the next 30 days, and this is what I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be educating them on this, I'm going to be doing these live things every Monday morning, what's a good idea about how I could schedule some other content ideas and repurpose them through the week? What give me 5 ideas about what I could use on Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok. Something like that. It becomes very, very specific when you're able to give the step-by-step instructions like that. And when you're using words like goal, awareness, lead, sales, ChatGPT responds very well to things like that because you're giving it very clear instructions on how you want to be helped. Because that's what happens. This is the magic with understanding our goals. We get clarity, not just for ourselves, but any kind of help that we got with any AI kind of tool. So if you find yourself feeling scattered and stressed and you don't know what you're doing, the chances are your community is feeling this too. And your message is not coming across very clear. And that's what's happening. And that's a really good reason why a lot of times that we're posting on social media and it's just not resonating with people. So when you take the time to actually take this first step and know what your goal is for your content and know what you're going to be doing for the next 30, 60, or 90 days, and then work through your workflow content for that, your messages start to become more clear. Your posts feel more connected, and your content starts getting people to engage and move forward and take action that you're looking for. Because here's the thing about all this. And I get it when it comes to, workflows, and we think that we need to be on, these, high project management, expensive programs with trackers and planners and fancy workflows. And you don't need all of that. You can do something really, really simple with a Google Doc and just starting with your goals. Because understanding what your goals are, your goals become the compass, the roadmap, and they tell your workflow and the content that goes into the workflow what you should be focusing on, what you should be creating, and where you should be sharing it. Because without our goals, we just end up posting random noise. We just are adding to the noise online. So when you start to pull this in, you start to pull this together with your goals, your content becomes more than just a marketing message out there to say that you posted this week. It becomes a content workflow process. It becomes a system. It becomes your marketing strategy that allows you to start building more awareness, generating more leads, and definitely helping you to drive more sales. So thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode gave you some ideas that you can develop your own content workflow for your marketing, I would love to see you hit that like button and then hit the share button and share this with another business owner that you know. And if you want to take this further, I would love to see you join us inside the Marketing Strategy Collective, because we're going to take all of these ideas that I share in all of my videos here, all these videos episodes, and I want to teach you how to turn these into a content plan that's going to drive sales for you. So I want you to stop working in a solo bubble and learn how to work in a collaborative space to get the help you need with your marketing efforts. So you see the link below and you know what to do to learn more, to get the marketing help that you need to see the real growth in your business. Because you are magnificent, my friend. And let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.